Hey guys, welcome back to the Dumont RA-102 console television restoration project, better known as the Clifton. Alright, let's get back to it. We are going to replace these two twist-lock electrolytics on the power supply chassis with some of these newly manufactured twist locks. We have what I believe is a single 40 at 475 and a dual 40 at 475. So, what are we going to use? Alright, so, couldn't get quite exactly what I wanted to, so I got a quad 20 at 475. We're going to use this and we're going to pair up two of them. That will be for this guy. And for the single, we're going to go with this guy. So, I'm going to take some reference photos, remove those two guys, and pop these in. Now, since I don't intend to restuff this can, I can be a little aggressive about unmounting it. So I just clipped off the two lugs and just cranked on some of the twist locks, the one that was soldered to the chassis to get it disengaged. So straighten this one out a little bit. Cool. This one tab's being stubborn. Yeah. That cap has seen better days. Oozing out, kind of crusty around the seal there. So, yeah, do a 4475 Sprague. No, while I got it out, I want to clean around the chassis where this used to be mounted before I install a new one. Now this guy above it was mounted on an insulated phenolic wafer because the negative does not attach to the chassis. So I do actually want to retain that. But even if I didn't, I do have a stash of these phenolic wafers. I just don't quite remember where I put them, but I think I got a whole mess of them. If I can find them, I'll use one of those. Yeah, I think I know where they are. I think they're right here. Nice. One of these guys, I'm just going to make sure it fits quite right. So the deal is, you take your cap, you put it on here, and you twist the twist locks onto the phenolic, and then you screw the phenolic onto the chassis. This tab is bent just a little bit. There we go. So, like so. The curious thing about this is every tube socket, every terminal strip was attached with screws instead of rivets. So it's probably because it was an early set and they were handmade and all that, but low production quantity, and maybe they're planning on making a lot of production run changes. Boy, this one is easy to get out. Well, if I ever needed to replace a socket or something, piece of cake. Jeez. There we go. Okay. Mount just like so. Beautiful. Alright, let's get that cleaned up. Went over the chassis with a bit of CLR and then some simichrome polish because I can, because it's all exposed and very easy to do. So a couple minutes of cleaning and that, and let's see what goes where. So that is the single. So this guy is going to go in here. So now I got to decide about the labels, because I could orientate it so that you don't see them, or do I want to advertise to them? Let's see, when this goes into the into the cabinet rather, this part is exposed, so you do see this. So if I was to mount it like that, yeah, it'd be visible, so I'm going to do that. No disrespect to CE Manufacturing, but I figure I'll leave the label on so somebody can see it, but I'm not going to put it right out in the open. So we're going to go like so. Isn't that pretty? And for the other one, right, here it is. So for this guy, we will go like so. And we are just about done. Just got to twist those twist locks, put the screws in, hook the wires back up, and that is that. Took me all of about 5 minutes. Here they are installed. Took me about 10 minutes. It was a new experience for me and rather enjoyable and rewarding to just pop these in and wire them up. Nearly the same as the original. Now I couldn't get exactly the right value, so I had to double these two sections up and double these up in pairs, and then I hooked up the wiring just as it was, including the bus wire going from one of the twist lock lugs to the chassis to make a really solid ground connection. This guy's mounted on a phenolic plate because this negative lead goes through a power resistor to develop a negative bias for biasing some of the tubes. And that's why this filter cap is here, which I have not hooked back up yet. This filters that negative rail, which is something like, I don't know, negative 30 volts or somewhere in that ballpark. And that's why this is also isolated from the chassis. Notice this is a plastic Bakelite, and the two lugs are here. Positive. The positive on this cap goes to the chassis, and the negative goes to the negative on this guy. So it's filtering the negative rail. 500 microfarad, 50 volts these days is a little itty-bitty cap, probably smaller than this. So rather than going through the hassle of cutting this open, which I don't think I can do cleanly now that I realize that that's plastic, I think I'm just going to leave it alone and tack a tiny little cap in down here. So be it. Let's focus on the capacitor that I use the most of. I think I use 3 of these guys. It's 4 sections, each 10 microfarad, 475 volts. Now when I originally started planning on working on the set some years ago, I thought I'd be restuffing those cans. So I set aside some individual capacitors. In particular, Nichicon 10 microfarad, 500 volt, high quality, long life, high ripple current, low ESR type caps. Well, you got to pay money for these too. We're going to hop on a Mauser in a bit and see what they currently cost. There may or may not be a tariff. We've kind of gone back and forth on that. And then how are you going to mount them? You can cut open the cans, drill holes in them, and run the leads down through them. Or prime open and restuff them, seal them back up. Or you go with a terminal strip, which you can get for $2-3 a pop, or an adapter cap, similar, around $3-4 for one of these. My point being is, no matter what you do, you're going to have to spend some money. And then there's the time factor. These took, let's say, 10 minutes each to install. Basically, the original wiring is identical to how it was when we set out. These, depends on how you're going to go about it. If you can get easy access to them and you got the appropriate type saw, you can cut them open in place, clean them out, drill holes, run leads through. Do it relatively quickly. I think it'll take you more than 10 minutes, but some guys are faster than others with that technique. Or, depending on how things are arranged, you might be able to just tack them in down below. Or, if I wanted to use these adapter caps for these, I would have had to drill holes, perhaps enlarge that hole for some of these. Similar for a terminal strip. If I wanted to use one, I would have had to drill a hole mounted somewhere. Some of the leads might not have reached. I might have had to splice in an extension or run some new wires. Again, tedious, time-consuming. Alright, here we are on the Mouser website on April 23rd, 2026. What does that capacitor cost? $1.78 each if you get less than 10 of them. If you get 10 or more, $1.27. 50 or more, $1.04. 100 or more, 94 cents. Let's just go with, we're buying 4. Hop over to the shopping cart, and it comes out to $7.12. Cheapest shipping option is $8.49. If I went through the checkout process, they would tack on sales tax. So we're getting towards $20. And I said, plus the terminal strip adapter cap. If you go with that, let's just call it $20. Versus $37 for that cap from CE Manufacturing. And yes, I realize you could go with a lesser quality cap, different vendor. You could get it for less, but this is what it would cost if you just got 4 of them from Mouser right now. So I'd guesstimate it costs roughly 2 to 4 times more to use a CE manufactured cap than individual high quality caps and a mounting system. Then there's the other big factor, which is time. I like to think my time has some value. I know a lot of guys that work on this stuff are a bit older than me and they're retired and they've got some free time on their hands. My free time is very limited these days. I have a full-time job, I've got a family, I've got other obligations, so a time saving is a huge thing for me. I have a very large backlog of projects to get through. This project that has breezed through it. Just a few days and I'm done with the recap. And there's also the fact, yeah, this is a rarer, more valuable set when you figure the auction premium, the sales tax, the shipping. I paid about $2,000 for this set. So to drop a few $100 for capacitors, it's not that big a deal. And also, that really is the bulk of the money I've had to spend. I think I've replaced 1 resistor, 3 tubes, and a few paper caps. So really the cost of restoring this set has been dominated by the cost of the electrolytics. So roughly I spent 1/10 the value of the set to restore it, or to buy parts to restore it. Fine. Labor rates. My local mechanic charges $95 an hour for labor. So if this saved me, I figure, hey, my time's worth something like that. I figure $100 an hour. If this saved me a couple hours, it's $200 in savings. Absolutely, I would use these again if it's appropriate. I've looked ahead to some projects I plan on working on soon. In some cases, I can't find the right, they're not carrying caps that are suitable, or I would have to do too many compromises of shorting sections together, adding discrete capacitors even on top of the twist-locs. So it's not for everybody. It's not for every project. But if you care about the appearance of the caps and you don't want to go through the trouble to cut them open and they have the appropriate values, absolutely I would recommend going and using them. Alright, enough talk about electrolytic capacitors, I think. Coming up, we are going to wrap up enough work that we can try powering this setup. Be looking for that in the next installment. Thanks for watching.